So don't blink, cause you might just miss everything. The entire course of a man's life has many times been changed by a single thought, which coming to him in a flash became a mighty power that altered the whole current of human events. History is repeated with the stories of strong-minded, resolutely willed individuals who steadfastly holding to their inner convictions have been able to inspire their fellow man, and in the face of tremendous and determined opposition have literally created out of nothing new businesses, huge empires, and new worlds. They had no monopoly of thought power. You and every man and every woman have it. All you have to do is use it. You will then become the person you envision in your imagination. Know yourself. Know your power. Never forget. Believe will supply the power which will enable you to succeed on everything you undertake. Back your belief with the resolute will and you will become unconquerable. A master among men. Be yourself. A true warrior has resolute acceptance of death, because nothing else will stop them then. Nothing, not even death.
Hi, good morning. Today we're going to be covering hand therapy for wrist, metacarpals, meaning these bones right here, an overall hand and forearm. Okay, in order to prevent injuries from upcoming injuries, upcoming fights, I should say, and also if they do occur, whether it's from training, from an accident, or an actual fight. Right, I'm going to show you guys later on tonight all kinds of methods. Right now, this is going to be a quick little introduction about what's going to be covered later on tonight on Warrior Wisdom Wednesdays. So that way we can elevate more than just the physical, right? More than just the mental, but also the spiritual and emotional, all right? So let me see about, we got King Groove. Nice. Good morning, brother. How you doing? I'm assuming you're in the East Coast, because I think last time when you put in your time, I think you're in the East. I'm in California. So where you at, King Groove? You're probably not even the U.S. What if you're like in the U.K. or something? But anyhow, let's see. Today, for okay, seconds while I give a quick little intro of what we're covering right now and what's going to be covered later on. All right, let's see. Texas. Oh, damn, nice. Not too far. Cool. Yeah, I got a few people in Texas, actually. I don't remember the exact cities. There's so many of them over there. We're Wednesday. We're within Wisdom Wednesdays. Today we will be covering injury prevention. Injury. Oh, nope. Let me go back to this. Boxing, MMA, and BKFC. Bare knuckle fighting. Alright, it looks like everything's there. What's up, Jackie Jack? He's in the back. Alright. Alright, so right now I'm going to show you a quick way of I'm not gonna show you a quick way how to do it. I'm just gonna give you a quick little demonstration of what it looks like for boxing hand wrapping. All right, no matter what you're doing, whether it's bare knuckle fighting, obviously you're not gonna want to put much or anything at all on here because you need to condition them because you're gonna be fighting bare knuckle, right? For boxing or MMA, either of those three, or even Muay Thai, obviously MMA. The main thing you want to prevent is your wrist from stubbing this way, and then this way or this way. That's one thing. The other thing is you want to condition yourself so you're hitting flush. So you're hitting flush so that let's see, so that when you hit flush. You don't hit this way because this is the natural way we punch naturally, unless we correct it. But that's how we get what is called a boxer's fracture. I actually had one on my left side when I was a kid. I was only 11 years old in a street fight. Um, Early in the morning on some older, bigger guy's head because they try to pick on me. So that's when I learned to condition from 11 years old on my own. I started just striking different surfaces. But we'll get to that later on tonight, and I'll give some demonstrations, things like that. Not demonstrations, but examples, even demonstrations, yes. But the main thing is to protect the wrist, then the knuckles. Okay. For bare knuckle, you don't need much protection because you need to condition the skin and the bone through Wolff's law, tiny fractures. We'll get to that later on tonight. For boxing, you want to have some protection on the knuckle, all right, a lot of protection on the wrist. For MMA, maybe less protection on the knuckles, but a lot of so both for BKFC and for MMA, a lot of support here in the wrist. So on this one, I do have a lot of support there. This is more for boxing, and as you can see, my hands are already curled up. That's because the way I wrap them and makes your hand become a fist, and it's easier to just clench. That way, you're not always clenching because that's not a good thing. You're wasting energy. You're tensing up, so it's not good. If you're light, just like Bruce Lee states, light until the last point of impact, and then snap it back. But you bring that guard back quicker. And I know you can't see it, but on the other side, it's actually a little bit open. I only close it, clench it when I'm about to strike the surface. And even then, I don't follow through because then there's more injury of breaking. You might break the opponent's face, but then you have to repair. That's too much. It's the number one thing in any combat sport or battle is self-preservation, whether it's yourself and your team or by yourself. All right. So anyhow, this is for boxing. Now I'm going to show you real quick what I would do for bare knuckle. Remember, you still want to have a lot of protection on your wrist. That is allowed, but it's bare knuckle. So normally I would start. Well, I'm still going to start it this way for anything, wrapping around my knuckles with my hands spread. All right, because if not, when you take it out, it's going to shrink a little. So for bare knuckle, I'm going to go 4. All right, then I'm going to take it off. Usually I do 3, and I will place that right here as my initial padding. But it's for bare knuckle, so I don't need any. So I'm going to put it here. All right, so I don't stub it up this way. All right, this way we'll fix that in a bit. All right, sideways as well get fixed a little bit, but we'll put it there because you don't want to have it here tight. So to help you with that, so that it's not crazy tight here, you put this padding here, which will help it from stubbing upward. Okay. Then from here, you cover it once at the bottom, meaning that bottom line. All right, you still want protection on your metacarpals, okay? So from here, you're gonna go one more time over at the top. From there, you're gonna catch the thumb. All right. From there, you go back around the wrist. Now you come down one time through the webbing, as so. Make an X basically, one through the webbing, because this is what's gonna make your hand kind of curl so that you're not too fully open. You want to have it slightly so that you barely need to clench to make the fist. All right, but you don't want to go too tight either because then you cut the circulation. But notice how I'm spreading my hand so that way when I let it go, uh, when I'm done and I let it go, there's a little bit of slack, just a tiny bit, so I'm not cutting my circulation once again. All right, now that I've done all three, again, I don't need much protection on my knuckles. So from there, all I do is just cover it once, just so it's not all over the place. Okay, from here, I make a fist. I make a fist, and then I start making that without going this way. You don't need to make it pretty and make it look cool like in the movies, because all this is a waste of a wrapping. You don't need any protection up here at all for anything. All right, so you're gonna use all this as snug as possible in this area to prevent it from going this way, sideways. Okay, but remember, make that fist, because then you're stretching out the wrap just a tiny bit, so when you're normal, it's not too tight. You don't want to have it too tight. All right, so I'm almost done here. Why? Because then you'll cut the circulation. All right, so beautiful. I can feel it nice and stubbed. It doesn't go up back this way as easy at all, and this way either. All right, and definitely sideways is going to be tough because of that tough padding that I put there. It prevents it from doing that. And now my hand is pulled just like that, so that I can easily clench when I have to. All right, and then that way, the way I did it, meaning with hands wide open when I'm done, right now is the perfect snug. If I wouldn't have done that, it would have been a little too tight, cutting circulation. I would have to redo it or whatnot. But you can see a huge difference. This one's for boxing, even MMA, but this will be more for boxing, where it's more padding up here. Okay, because even MMA, we have smaller gloves, right? So as you can see, huge difference of the lump here to here. This is bare knuckle. There's barely any here. All right, just in case I bleed. I don't care about bleeding, but it's, that way you prevent the blood from spreading all over your gym. All right, but again, look how much padding I have here, and this is not uncomfortable at all. Not this bulk is uncomfortable. Especially the way it feels. It feels safe. All right, so there's that. Let me check the comments if there's any, and if not, there's not. We're within. Cool. Thank you, King Groove, for always being on time, man. That's crazy, and I never give heads up, but tonight I definitely will. I most likely will be going on late, Pacific Standard Time, so I would say maybe around 10-ish, maybe 11. But I will go on, and it will be with more covering on, again, preventing injuries for one, and then treating them in case you do. Okay, so right now I'm just gonna finish off my workout. I'm gonna keep checking back and forth, see if there's any comments. But now I'm gonna go ahead actually, and well, you know what? I've never done this before. I'm gonna strike like this and see what difference I feel. Um, uh, but I used to use them a lot. Now I don't use them at all. But I do want to promote safety. So safety first. I want to show you guys how to do it. But I've been striking for many years, and very consistently every single year since at least around the age of 11 or so. Um, so I can get away with not wearing hand wraps. Other people, I mean, doesn't matter if you've been in the amateurs and all that. It's a completely different game. Boxing is completely different than bare knuckle fighting. And bare knuckle fighting, there's different conditioning, because for one, there's different rules. For two, it's not about a point system. Okay, it's about uh, um, uh, um, clearing indifferences. Well, that's what it used to be. The gentleman's club is what they would call it. After work, gentlemen would meet around the corner, slug it out, slug their differences out, shake hands after, probably buy each other beer, and then go about their day. Except for those who had egos. And you are the ones that I love to teach a lesson to. I like to break that ego down. But anyways, the point there is different ballpark, right? Some of you might think even it's completely different than MMA. MMA, you condition yourself to fight for what, at least 5 minutes per round, right? And KFC, bare knuckle fighting, no matter where you go, no matter how sanctioned it is or not, the rules are 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. MMA fighters might be like, oh, that's simple. I don't have to worry about getting kicked and it's only 2 minutes. Fuck yeah. Well, it's completely different because you're training to fight for 5 minutes. That means you take your time to really study your opponent. And BKFC, there's no studying. You're just trying to overpower the man in all reality. But there is skill involved. All right. So someone that would be a great bare knuckle fighter would be Mike Tyson because how tight he moves and he hardly ever opens himself up. Even when he's throwing his uppercuts, the way he jumps left and right. So someone like it looks funny, but it's the way you punch differently too. What do you think? They have that old Irish boxing. They would stand in a whole different manner because this way you can throw better uppercuts. It feels and looks weird, but if you train yourself, trust me, Salvatore, I think that's what it's called, the French boxing. It's completely different. And to regular fighters, when you do this, look at your center of line, and you can easily get uppercuts in there. And in street fights, uppercuts really do work. And these crazy, weird, choppy, crazy hooks that in boxing wouldn't work because you jump back and boom, 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 and move around, right? Well, you can try to do that in bare knuckle fighting, but because of the rules, they can trap you, grab you, and they can still sock you. Okay. And boxing, they can't do that. In MMA, they can't really do that. You can't really clench and strike at the same time. You can, but it's not really allowed. In bare knuckle fighting, yeah, you can get away with even shoulder shrugs. Trust me, you can hurt somebody with shoulder shrugs. All right, but anyways, the point is there's different guards as well on bare knuckle because again, you can't open yourself much because that knuckle, if it hits you, I don't care how conditioned you are, it's gonna rip you up. It's gonna rip you up bad. All right. That's another thing. I'm gonna teach you guys how to condition to rip skins up. Hey, I'm sorry, it has to be gruesome, but hey, it is what it is. Aside from the blood and the gory, bloody stuff, it's bare knuckle fighting is actually a beautiful sport. All right, it's way tougher than it seems because just because it's 2 minutes, oh no, it's a lot more. So, anyways, there's more actually at risk, but there's ways to train yourself so you put yourself less at risk. I stopped counting my street fights at 17 years old. I stopped counting at 144 street fights. All right, never did I have a black eye. There was one time I had a ripped lip. And it was always against taller, lengthier, older gang members for the most part. All right. But it is what it is. I mean, there's ways to get around and not get beat the fuck up. All right. And like a gentleman's club, it didn't matter if they were big. Once I dropped them after 3 or 4 hits, I would let them get up. I would let them get up until they either got knocked out completely, and that was never my intention. And I would let them say, I'm done. I would just let them keep on. I loved it. I don't understand it, but hey, it is what it is. I love fighting, and that's that. And I'm a really peaceful guy, believe it or not. But it's just that physical game of chess. It's amazing, especially when that ego is not around, and you go at it, and then when you're done, it's like, man, you're like almost best of friends because finally there's someone else that can share your world. I know it sounds kind of weird and cliche, but it's the truth, man. It's a true warrior would understand what I'm referring to. So anyhow, gotta get going, gotta get started. I'm just gonna go for a little while. And keep checking stuff out. King Groove, nice. You put some stuff. Wrapping your knuckles correctly will save you from injury. Exactly, yeah. Rocky Marciano had great bare knuckle type fighting style. Exactly. Yes. And look at it. Thank you for bringing that up, King Groove 713. And as you can see, I mean, look at the name he brought up. You guys cannot tell me you guys don't at least recognize that name, Rocky Marciano. Look it up, man. Undefeated. I think it was like 63 fights. He could have had a lot more, but it was just no longer a challenge for him, I guess. So, anyways, tonight I also will be uh, going over some drills on how to condition yourself for proper alignment. All right, because you want to punch a certain way so that your the pressure pounds of pressure. Not only are you coming with the proper pounds of pressure, whether you're snapping back or not. Not only that, but the pounds of pressure gets distributed properly throughout the bone structure, all right, of your body. Learning to use your spear properly. You can't really see it, but it's pointing. It's kind of weird, but strike with that, all right, and you'll see eventually that you'll have that much more reach, and when you contact you'll feel the safe, beautiful, secure feeling, and you throw so much more force into it. For one, the security comes in, you can feel it literally, and you get that confidence, and everything just works properly when you hit properly. It's a natural thing. If you hit wrong, you naturally will start getting losing confidence. Your speed will naturally go down because you know that your knuckles are weak, you know that you injured them, so forth and so on. So in my opinion, true speed is up here, and it comes through confidence, not the ego. Confidence of you knowing your skin is not going to rip easily here. I rip my skin so many times in people's mouths and their teeth and stuff. But also that you're not gonna break your knuckles. After that one time that I broke my hand, I started conditioning them a certain way. It was just I just didn't know how to meditate, but that's what I did. I somehow just sat in the corner and just thinking, how can I make myself stronger? And I was like, all right, I'll just start hitting stuff lightly. Maybe that'll help. And sure enough, it really started working. On my way to school, I used to tap, tap, tap on the wooden walls, just lightly, tap, tap, tap. If you think about it, I'm moving and I'm tapping, so I'm slightly scraping, but I wasn't striking hard. So little by little, my skin was conditioned. So anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and get my heart pumping for a little bit. Finish this workout. I already did a crazy workout routine, and then I did some caliera. It's basically eskrima with two sticks. They're inside right now. Oh, they're back there, right there on the tree. Um, I like to do that, and then add somewhat of a capoeira and taekwondo flow to it. I'll upload that video later on. That's what I did earlier, and I'm just gonna finish off. I did a light weight resistor workout, and I'm just gonna strike away nice and lightly right now because I don't want to overdo it like I do it at night. Because in the nights I want to expend as much possible so I can sleep good like a baby. Warrior during the day, baby during the night. All right, let's see. Anything else? Me used to punch the shower wall. Yes, exactly. Yeah, same here. The lockers, everything, dude. And again, without having to follow through, even though you can do that, but there's no need to follow through. Just snapping back, and you still can send a lot of force into it, like Bruce Lee. So so weird, but right away, I like the bare knuckle side better. I just don't like a lot of protection for some reason. I'm just that well conditioned. And I love to work out with the mouthpiece in. Makes it that much more difficult, that much more challenging, that much more benefit. Goodness. Oh, goodness. Wow. I have a recommendation. Keep your legs a little closer together when striking. Better for balance, yeah. Closer to like, obviously the horse stance, karate, but yeah, that one's a little wide too. But Wing Chun, they're a little bit more narrow. Not as narrow, obviously, um, but I see what you mean. And that's what I mean about that. Mike Tyson's style is perfect for bare knuckle fighting. How tight he is, he doesn't overextend his legs, which prevents him from overextending his heavy punches. I kind of got used to it because of the Kali has a big counterbalance in front of me, and that's why I like to have the wide stance. But I know that it's exuding, bleeding over to the fluidity, the flow when I express the inner warrior, whether it's boxing, MMA. I notice the same thing, a little too wide. Um, and the way I fix that, and especially now that you pointed out, King Groove 713, is like Wing Chun. I try to dig my toes inward so that no matter how wide my legs are, it won't allow me to get too wide because the way I'm kind of pigeon-toeing for a little bit of the negative space in the rhythm um, is where I do that little squeeze inward kind of. And it's good conditioning for the MCL, the medial collateral ligament, because the way you're kind of torquing in. Obviously, the older you get, and if you do it with weight, yeah, it's not good. You're gonna injure that ligament or others. Um, but yeah, like I said, later on tonight, I'm gonna go on live again, and I'm gonna be covering more tips, more strategies, more techniques in order to know how to treat, prevent, do therapy, rehabilitation of any injury. And I'll probably cover like the main ones overall as far as injuries in battle, meaning in a fight, and some injuries that are not necessarily from a fight. Like, say, for instance, a lot of men, not just men, but men do a lot more vigorous work throughout their lives. So us men, especially because the wallet we carry in our back pocket and we sit on it, and our pelvic is always crooked, we get a lot of back pain. So that has nothing to do really with the fight game, but if you have back pain, it can affect your fight game. You see what I'm saying? So those type of things, like how to treat a sprained ankle or something like that, and then shoulder impingement that we fighters, not just boxers, fighters get from raising those shoulders up for so long. Sometimes weighted because we're hitting and we're with all that force, we're almost bringing up that. If it's a 50-pound fighter, we're bringing up at least 120 of those pounds. You know, the rest is from him reacting to it. But from that, imagine that lifting 120 pounds or so this way, instantly, many times over. You know, that takes an effect on the shoulders. So things like that we'll be covering. And again, I'll be more in depth on how to do the one for the boxing, because I kind of showed you the one for the bare knuckle. Hardly no padding at all here, at all. Over here with the boxing, it's more padding. And I'll show you the sequence on how I did this. And trust me, there is a proper sequence. Without this proper sequence, I mean, if you have someone doing it for you, you're about to fight in a competition, whether it's amateurs or an actual pro fight, well, they know what they're doing, and you can just sit back and relax and let them do their job. But if you're not doing that and you're training for a fight or to get signed or whatever, you have to do this all the time yourself, right? And there is a right way to do it. Obviously there's a wrong way to do it, but there's several proper ways, because there isn't one best way at all, period, because there's different disciplines to train for. Okay, like I said, boxing is completely different than bare knuckle fighting, even though it's still pugilism. Hands coming out and striking your opponent, but there's different rules. It's a whole different ballgame. For instance, a great example for bare knuckle fighting, BKFC, look it up. Paul Malignaggi, when he fought, you're gonna see. I mean, if it was boxing, okay, yeah, he probably would have won that fight on points. But bare knuckle fighting has nothing to do with points. All right, even though there is a point structure to win, to determine who won the round, but in all reality, it has nothing to do with points. And Paul Malignaggi didn't even do that great of a job, even winning the points for one. And then he thought he was winning the fight towards the end, and he started running around so that to protect himself. But yes, you have to protect yourself, obviously, but you don't do that in bare knuckle fighting. The whole point is to overpower your opponent in such little time. You only get 2 minutes per round, okay? And there's only, what, 5 rounds the most? And that's the highest level. Okay, that goes to show you it's to influence, okay, a different perspective, a different outcome, okay, a different show, a different experience, okay. So it's completely different. So watch that fight, and you're gonna be like, wow, yeah, what the fuck was he thinking? I mean, but hey, you're not in that. You're not in the ring. So when you're in that ring, you doesn't matter how much of a professional you are. Sometimes you skip a beat up here, and you're like, "Fuck!" You're just trying to overcome everything and your opponent, and everything and your opponent. All right. Sometimes it's just that's not even an issue. It's just you and that soul, and you need to take it. That's it. All right. So anyhow, so hopefully some of the stuff that I've been sharing, hopefully is gonna help you when you enter the ring again, whether it's for sparring or an actual fighting match. And if you have a sparring or fight match that you have challenges with, put down some questions, man. Not only I, but there's several others over here that already have been putting great comments, great feedback. All right, and right now we have one. He's always on here, man. It's pretty cool. King Groove 713. All right, so let's see. There's a new one. Better for combos. I have that same problem. Have to literally watch my feet. Yeah, in the mirror. Yep. For correct boxing or kickboxing form. Yeah, and that's another thing. That's the next thing I'm gonna cover is using the mirrors not only for conditioning, but also for programming. All right, how to use it to advance and excel your training to the programming that you do on yourself, utilizing the mirror, the literal mirror in front of you, but also the figurative one. The all is mind, the universe is mental. So that means as above, so below, as inside, so outside. Perception is projection. So if you're seeing it out there, it's also inside. You have to shift the first inside. So anyways, Bushido code, the middle way, Zen Buddhism. All right, that way you can knock faces out, those who deserve it, and still live the way. So find the middle way. That's why we warriors choose Zen Buddhism. All right, gotta get going. One love, one life. For together our life will shine much brighter. Don't forget to get into the Bushido code, the Book of Five Rings, if you want true strategy of self, not just of an army like Sun Tzu, covering on the art of war. All right, do the Book of Five Rings by Miyamoto Musashi. Goodness, 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 and apply that to everything, just like he states. You can apply it to everything. Get into those 3 books, and your inner warrior will start training you. You'll see. It really does work that way. My name is Jesus Nedzaya Medina, aka Striker. As you can see, I strike a lot. All right, gotta get going, and want to remind you that there is 4 planes of existences. All right, the 1, 2, 3, 4 flush that I had designed will help you how to maximize and optimize all 4 planes of those existences, which is physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. All right, imagine having those 4, and then eventually, if it resonates within, there's still a 5th one. Through the esoteric, you get to master the metaphysical. All right, but imagine using at least those 4 planes of existences to outmatch and outpower your opponent that usually is only one-dimensional, meaning it's only physical realm. Even though they train hard, add a little bit of mental to their training, it's still all physical. All right, so gotta get going. One love, one life. For together our life was so much brighter. Don't forget you're only limited to your creativity. Pain is temporary. Pride is eternal. Fulfillment lasts forever. The fight will be worth it. Any last words? All right, we got King Groove that showed us uh, um, a link. I'm gonna check it out. Um, check this guy out. One of my favorite kickboxers, Dennis Alexio. The last name sounds familiar, but the full name doesn't for some reason. All right, definitely. I'm gonna check it out. Click on it now. All right. All right, so I'm gonna sign off. So later on tonight, I'd say around 10 p.m. I might go on at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but either way, I'm never on time when it comes to those things. It's just spirit of the moment. Because another thing is also I deal with not only my own PTSD but many others, right? Because I'm a veteran. I deal with other veterans from around the world and other people that have blockages mentally. So I can help you transmute just about anything. Studied clinical hypnotherapy, NLP, many things, all right, to convert darkness to light. All right, gotta get going. Yeah, I'll check out that link, and that's about it. Anything else? Very good lesson, Grasshopper. Yes, most definitely. Have a good one, King Grooves. De Texas hasta Califas. Have a good day. Have a good one. Peace. Let's see.
Everyone creates the thing they dread. Men of peace create engines of war. Invaders create avengers. The victors program their future enemies. All other shit fear. Inevitably, men die from their own remedies. What the fuck is the sense in that? Do we keep fighting each other? This doesn't make sense. What the fuck are we doing? Fuck this shit! I'm done with this reality! I'm done! Embrace the dark so you can see so many things in a different perspective. Perception.
Become unconquerable, a master among men. Be yourself. A true warrior has resolute acceptance of death, because nothing else will stop them then. Nothing. Not even death. Not even death. Not even death. You cannot defeat me. You can't make me bow down. You cannot defeat me. I will not give up. You cannot defeat me. she unleashed. Step up to me, and my energy will dismantle utterly your mentality, and it might put you in the brink of insanity. Teach yourself a lesson, forget about me, cause I don't exist. I flow through the ether, multidimensionally. I share my insights, call me a preacher. Move like a ghost, I'll teleport back home like E.T. I'll be gone in an instant, so don't blink, so don't blink, so don't blink, cause you might just miss everything. The entire course of a man's life has many times been changed by a single thought, which coming to him in a flash became a mighty power that altered the whole current of human events. History is repeated with the stories of strong-minded, resolutely willed individuals who steadfastly holding to their inner convictions have been able to inspire their fellow man, and in the face of tremendous and determined opposition have literally created out of nothing new businesses, huge empires, and new worlds. They had no monopoly of thought power. You and every man and every woman have it. All you have to do is use it. You will then become the person you envision in your imagination. Know yourself. Know your power. Never forget. Believe will supply the power which will enable you to...
Wait, what? You still here? What are you doing right here, man? Let's get going, man. You gotta get started with your day. All right, peace. One love, one life. Put together, light will shine much brighter. See you later. Bye.